Okay, Rob here. Let me just move. I'm going to move this down to the bottom so it doesn't distract you very much. All right, good deal. Well, great to have you on today. Rob Kosberg here with Bestseller Publishing. Got a brand new training for you. Going to do some things really, really different. Put your wallet away, your credit card. You don't need it. I'm not making a big offer or anything like that, so don't worry about that. I just have a ton of content. I will share with you a couple of ways that you can connect with us and see if we're fit and that sort of thing, but not making any kind of offer and not trying to sell you a product, program, or service, so let your guard down. Don't worry about, if all of this is just a big pitch. There's nothing to buy. And I want to share with you how my clients and myself, I have a new book coming out in just the next couple of weeks I'm pretty excited about, have become million-dollar authors and how we've grown our impact and our income with our own best-selling books. So got a ton of stuff for you, and I'm going to talk really fast. This is kind of what you're going to hear for the next, I don't know how long this is going to go, 60 to 90 minutes or so, but, a lot here to go over with you. So let me just pull up a couple of windows here to make sure that I have all of it in front of me that I need. Good deal. Okay, so here's the deal. Over the next period of time, this is going to be the right presentation for you to be on if you're interested in writing your own book, or maybe you've already written a book and you want to know how to promote that book, get your book selling so much so that you legitimately become a best-selling author. And I'm not going to share with you like these little tricks or ways that you can get 10 of your friends to buy your book all at the same second so you become a best-selling author for 10 minutes and call yourself a best-selling author. No. Yeah, you could try that, but it's not legitimate. I'm going to show you like real legitimate ways that we help our authors by promoting their books with a number of different ways and actually get them on real media like real radio, real television, podcast, blogs, etc. So you are in the right place if you want to learn how to do all of that and generate massive leads for your business, grow your business, grow your authority, get speaking engagements, all of those things. So you're in the right place and you're going to discover how to do exactly all of that. So I got a couple of things for you. I want you to stay through the whole presentation, and I have a couple of cool gifts for you if you do. But again, I don't have a big pitch for you at the end. So if you get what you need in the first 20 minutes, fantastic. If you get what you need in the first 30 minutes, great. I am going to share throughout the presentation a way that you can connect with us to see if we might be a fit to work together or to just get an author strategy session done so that you can really see, does your idea have merit? Can you really grow a business with what you're thinking? That sort of thing. What I'm going to offer at the end and what I'm going to give you for free if you stay on is basically what we use every single day to help our clients and get them on everything from the Howard Stern Show to Entrepreneur Magazine, Forbes Magazine, the New York Times, Lucky Magazine, and radio and TV almost every single week all over the country. So I'm going to share with you exactly how we do that with the training. But what this is about today is all about a best-selling book for you. And whether you need this part or not, I just want to spend a few minutes talking about this because here's what I've learned about authors. In speaking to thousands of authors over the last few years, and every single month, 300 to 500 people make application to speak to my author development coaches right in the other room, right there. And 300 to 500 people, most of who we speak to that haven't gotten their book done, we have learned that they've been wanting to do a book for years. Sometimes 1 year, 2 years, as long as 5 or 10 years. If that's you, then you need a little extra motivation as to why you should do a book. So let me share with you what it is all about. First of all, a book is not about royalties. I'm going to say that right out of the gate. Yes, will you make some royalties? Sure. My first book right here, Life After Debt, that I wrote, going on 11 years ago. It sold 40,000 copies. I've made some money from it, but primarily the money that I've made has not come from the royalties of that book, even though, my best month I think was $1,000, which that's a pretty good month for royalties. And every single month I get, lunch money in my account from that particular book. But that book has helped me make millions of dollars in income because of what's on your screen right now. And that is what I call the hierarchy of desire. You see, as your desire grows, so also grows your income and your impact. When you leave the generalist or even specialist category, and you are thought of as an expert, a thought leader, even a celebrity in your field, then guess what happens? You become more desirable, and you'll make more money, and you'll make a greater impact on the world. That is what a best-selling book does for you, like Russell Brunson's book, Expert Secrets, or like our client's book, Tim and Julie Harris, or the list goes on and on and on. And I do have a few of my clients' books sitting on the desk right here. So the book is about raising your authority and attracting people, potential clients into your world so that you become a thought leader or even celebrity in your space. That is the idea. Sorry, I'm in my office and people are always calling. 300 to 500 applications a month, which is pretty cool. So who is this person? Well, you know who this is. This is Susie Orman. Most likely, you know who Susie is, even though maybe you're not a financial advisor. I have a bunch of clients that are financial advisors. I've done many, many books in the financial advice space, and most of them feel the same way about Susie. They'll say something like, oh, Susie Orman, she gives the worst advice, or her advice is so simplistic, or blah, blah, blah. Here's the problem with that. You may have initials after your name if you're a financial advisor, and so you've done work to get educated. But see, Susie has done work also, right? What is the work she's done? Well, she's written books. In fact, it was her second book that put her on the map, that became a bestseller, and then led to her being on media. She actually had a PBS documentary, which then led to her being offered her own television show. Now she's worth tens of millions of dollars. She attracts millions of people all over the country and even the world that are interested in her advice because she has created celebrity using her best-selling book. She was totally unknown before then, but now she has created celebrity. It all started with her book. How about this? John Maxwell. Most of you, or many of you, know who John Maxwell is. Amazing, amazing teacher on leadership. John does about one book a year on leadership primarily, and he's become like one of the foremost experts on leadership in the world. But most people don't know, John was a country preacher prior to writing his books on leadership. He led a little country church, then a larger church in San Diego, and when he started writing books, he repositioned himself completely as an expert on leadership. Now John sells programs and coaching and does millions of dollars a year in revenue, which he can do whatever he wants with, whether he gives that to charity or whether he supports his own ministries or whether he just supports his family and friends. Point being, it was his book that put him on the map. Most people don't know this face as much. This is Gary Keller. Now, I come from a real estate background, and I'll share more about that in just a second. But here's the deal. Gary Keller wrote his very first book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent that put him and his company on the map. And not long ago, in fact, just right on my bookshelf over there, I got some of my clients' books there. I have other of my clients' books over there. I was reading one of Gary's book, one of his later books called The One Thing. By the way, fantastic book, became a national bestseller. And I came across something that was just really cool, and I want to share it with you. On page 40 of Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, this is what he said. In 2001, these are his words. You can go back to page 40 to look at it for yourself if you like. In 2001, I called a meeting of our key executive team. As fast as we were growing, we were still not acknowledged by the very top people in our industry. So I challenged our group to brainstorm 100 ways to turn this situation around. It took us all day to come up with a list. The next morning, we narrowed the list down to 10 ideas, and from there, we chose just one big idea. The one we decided on was that I would write a book on how to become an elite performer in our industry. That's the book. It worked. 8 years later, this is all Gary's words, 8 years later, that one book had not only become a national bestseller, but it also morphed into a series of books with total sales of over 1 million copies. In an industry of about 1 million people, One Thing changed our image forever. Today, Keller Williams is the largest real estate brokerage in the world. And Gary Keller is a billionaire. Do you think it worked for him? You know it worked for him. Give you a little bit of background on me. I don't like this part. I share it because it's probably necessary. Some of you that have never heard of me before are wondering, like, who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? I do not come from the traditional publishing world. I actually come from Gary's world. I come from the real estate world. From the time I was 18 on and off for the next many, many years, I'm 53 now, into my early 40s, I was involved in real estate. I owned multiple real estate companies in the early 2000s, a real estate brokerage, also a mortgage brokerage company, and I was a licensed title agent and owned a title insurance company. I also invested heavily in real estate. In the early 2000s, in fact, in 2006, my businesses were doing over $100 million a year in transactions and millions of dollars a year in personal income to me. Going great, right? Well, you already know the end of this story because you know what happened in 2007 and 2008. The financial crisis hit. And when that financial crisis hit, it took my businesses not to 50% or even 30% of their revenue, but all the way to zero. In fact, in 2008, about April or May of that year, I closed my businesses, and there I was in my early 40s, kind of licking my wounds, feeling the emotional pain of what that was. And then with 3 kids in private school and all the debt that I had accumulated and acquired, and all my real estate having dropped in value 50 to 60%, I was wondering, okay, what is the next iteration for me? Fortunately, I was in a couple of mentoring and mastermind groups and asked a mentor, 2 actual mentors of mine separately, what they would do if they had been or were in a situation like I was in. And both of them, independent of each other, suggested that I write a book. Now, I had never thought of writing a book before. I really hadn't. But something to me rang true about that. So I wrote this book, Life After Debt. In a lot of ways, I look at the book and I think, wow, I made so many mistakes with it. I blew it in so many different ways. And yet, that little book became a massive success for me and my new financial services business. That book became the #1 nonfiction book on all of Amazon out of over 2 million other nonfiction books. You can see here at the bottom right, it says number 12 paid in the Kindle store because the top 11 were all fiction books. I was outselling all of the big guys like Tony Robbins and Dave Ramsey and David Bach, and I was this unknown author. That led to incredible opportunities for me to be on TV, radio, and to do speaking engagements to as many as 5,000 people at one time. My big break, and I'll share more of this later, but my big break actually was radio. How my book led to the opportunity to be on radio, and then that radio, especially local radio, generated leads for my business such that in the first year, in a terrible economy in 2009, this brand new business did over $1 million in revenue. The year before, 2008, when I had shut my business down, I did 1/10 of that in revenue, all because of my best-selling book. So it became a massive opportunity for me. The cool thing is that several years later, I actually sold my financial services company. Fortunately, I sold it and made some money rather than closing my business like I exited my real estate business. And I did it because I started having floods of people come to me, including U.S. ambassadors, Fortune 500 CEOs, even one of the sharks on Shark Tank, and they became my clients asking for my help to publish, promote, and profit with their own best-selling book. At that time, about 7 years ago, I started bestseller publishing, and since then, I have spoken to tens of thousands of authors all over the world and helped them to also achieve these same kind of results. It's not important in one sense to you that I've achieved this for myself or that my authors have achieved it for themselves as well. What's important is, can you replicate this? Can you do it for yourself? And the truth is, yes, you can. It was being done before I got into the business. It'll be done long after I get out of this business. But you can use a book to radically position yourself as an authority and radically change your financial future forever. So I commend you for being on this training. But did you know that 81% of Americans want to write a book? The New York Times did a survey not long ago and found that 81% of adult Americans want to write a book. That puts you in a massive majority, right? If you want to write a book. Here's the good news for those of you who either already have or those of you that will do it, is that the rubber meets the road in the execution. You see, the fact that you are on this training and want to write a book doesn't really set you apart. But less than 1% ever actually achieve or accomplish it. So if you've already written a book, I congratulate you. You are in a very, very small minority. But if you haven't written it, I'm telling you, the opportunity is huge. And you've got to dig in, figure out what you need to figure out, and hopefully this training will really give you a good indication of that. Because when you do, you enter a very elite group that then you can use that book in incredible ways, and I'm going to show you a lot of different ways that you can do it. Now, before we get into the depth of it, a little warning for our friends at the FTC. The results I'm about to show you of my clients, they're extreme. They're amazing. I mean, for crying out loud, I just showed you my tax returns from 10 years ago, right? How I used my book to do $1 million. Of course, I'm not telling you that the year you publish your book, you're going to do $1 million too. I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe you'll do way more than that. Maybe you won't do anything at all. Unfortunately, most people that go to trainings like this end up not doing anything. They don't do anything with the training. They don't do anything with what they learn. And because of that, they don't get the results that they want. So I'm going to share with you how we do this for our clients. I'm going to share with you some of my clients' results. What you choose to do with it is up to you, my friend. So let's dive in. These are the 3 secrets of what we're going to hit today, and in this order. Secret number 1, how to earn big money from your book, even if you are completely unknown. We're going to start with the income and the impact, right? How you use your book to make money. Secret number 2, how to promote your book to bestseller, even if you have no list, no following, no platform, nothing, right? Let's say you're completely unknown. You just flew in from outer space. You don't have a social security number or anything. You don't have a list. You don't have a following. I'm going to show you how you can make your book a bestseller with someone else's list, someone else's following. And then secret number 3, how to get your book done in no time flat without having to grind daily over thousands of words or lock yourself in a cabin in the woods. So in some ways, we're going to go backwards from the profit to the promotion to the actual publishing and writing of your book. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, you'll see this slide a couple of times, and if you get nothing else, I really want you to grab a hold and get this. Your book, your best-selling book, is the gateway to your dreams. It's the gateway to your 7-figure and beyond income. It's the gateway to massive authority and credibility. It was for me. I shudder to think where I would be right now if I didn't choose to write my book almost 11 years ago. And that is true for so many of the other authors that I'm going to share about today, as well as even the most well-known people. You know, it's interesting. Russell Brunson, who's a good friend of mine, just wrote the foreword to my latest book, Publish, Promote, Profit, which will be out, very, very shortly. And he said something that I thought was really interesting, and that was that he had a conversation with someone that really led him to write his first book. And that conversation was, do you know the difference between you and someone like Brendon Burchard or Tony Robbins? And the difference was that they had books that positioned them as an authority, and Russell did not. And what has happened since Russell has written his first book is extraordinary. So your book is your gateway to what it is that you want, income-wise and impact-wise. Secret number 1, let's dive right in. How to earn big money from your book, even if you are completely unknown. Now, by the way, as I dive in, I'm going to ask you guys to share on the chat in answer to some questions. In the beginning, I've just got a lot to share. I'm going to run through this. I've got 100+ slides, but I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'm going to want feedback from you, okay? So when it comes time for you to speak, Get ready. Don't disengage. Get off Facebook, get off Twitter, get off social media, and spend some time focused with me. So let's talk about profits, and let's begin with a question. What would you rather have? Someone handing you a check for $5,000, $10,000, even $100,000, which I've had that, and many of my clients have as well, or $1.62, a bunch of pennies like you see on the screen? Now, look, that's a rhetorical question. You don't have to type in the chat box, well, Rob, I'd rather have 100 grand than 100 pennies. Okay, that's obvious. The point that I'm making is this. If you focus on royalties, then you're focusing on the $1.62. Your book, right, is a dichotomy. On one hand, your book is the greatest authority and credibility positioning tool you will ever have. But on the other hand, it is the cheapest way for people to enter your world. $10, $20, of which you get to keep a few dollars. You see, you want to take people into your world so they see you as a credible expert, but you want to help them in massive ways so that they write you bigger checks, because they need more than just a book. They need help with certain things in their life, in their businesses, in their relationships, in their finances, etc. So let me share a couple of random ways, and then I'm going to dive in specifically. So this is my client, Mia Moran. We help Mia with this book, Plan Simple Meals. Here's the cool thing. Before Mia ever wrote this book, she did a Kickstarter campaign. And that Kickstarter campaign, if you can see the bottom right of this image, she raised $52,246 from 331 people. Now, if you just do the simple math, you'll see that she must have been selling something more than a book, right, to raise 52 grand from 331 people. But not only that, the book hadn't even been done yet. We helped her with the cover, and she went to a very tiny audience that she had built with this Kickstarter campaign, and with that tiny audience was able to sell over 52,000. From that, she raised the money to get her book done, get it book published, promoted to become an international bestseller, and then our team to feature her on media all across the country to really explode and blow up her business. So you can actually make money from your book if you're thinking outside the box before the book is ever created. You can sell advertising space in your book. You can have 10 different pages where you let people know, look, I'm going to give you a page in my book. My book is guaranteed to become an international bestseller because if you do what I tell you to do, or if you work with my company, it is a guarantee that we put in writing, or what we do is free. How much would that be worth to somebody that was in a complementary field like you that might be willing to give you $1,000 for a page in your book, or $2,000 for a page in your book? Or like Mia, somebody that wanted more and higher level services. You have to think outside the box when it comes to your book. This is my client, Joel Landy. We did Joel's book, Rewired, Power Up Your Relationships, Purpose, and Performance. And Joel's book did very, very well, became an international bestseller. But what Joel and his wife, Julie, used the book for in their business is to position them in authority with executives and C-suite level people in corporations that range from $10 million to $100 million, and they sell very, very high-level coaching and consulting on relationships. They have been paid as much as $100,000 and only need a small handful of clients because their book does the heavy lifting for them. They get their book into the hands of referral partners as well as potential clients, and the book positions them as an authority. They then close that transaction and close that deal, so they're handed very large checks instead of very, very tiny checks. And by the way, people still randomly find them through sales of the book on Amazon and various other ways in bookstores. So you have to think outside the box. I'm going to give you a ton more examples, but let me share with you details of what we call the profit phase really looks like. And this is about income from your book. First and foremost, you have to decide what best suits you and how you want to grow your platform and attract your ideal clients with your book. We look at three specific things when it comes to really making an income and an impact with your book. Those three things are speaking engagements, real media and PR, and lead generation. Okay, so speaking engagements, PR and media, and lead generation. See, the goal is to get the book into the hands of your ideal clients in every way, from you appearing on TV, to you appearing on a podcast, to you doing a local speaking engagement, to you doing a massive national speaking engagement, as well as real online marketing through Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, Google advertising, YouTube advertising. So if you can get your book into your ideal client's hands through all of those ways, imagine the kind of impact and income that you will have on people. PR has a dual purpose. The dual purpose is, number one, it is to reach your ideal audience, meaning that, let's say that, using one of my clients' examples, he is a veterinarian, and anybody that owns a pet is his potential client. So we positioned him on a television show in Orlando, Florida. And from that television show where he talked about stem cell therapy for dogs and actually got his dog, one of his dogs that received stem cell therapy, which radically changed his life, the dog's life and the owner's lives, by the way, he received over $100,000 in revenue from pet owners that were local because he reached an audience through television that was directly his potential client. Now, that's not true if you sell something really specific like I do, right? I'm a publishing company, and I help business owners to publish, promote, and profit with a best-selling book. If I go to the general population through television, I'm probably not going to get a single telephone call. And in fact, I know that, right? But here's the second reason for PR, because it builds your authority. So I've been positioned, I've had articles in Forbes magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, and I've been featured on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, everything all over the country. I haven't received a single telephone call from a TV appearance that I did, even in major markets like San Francisco and San Diego. But I use all of those media appearances on my website, in the marketing that I do, with seminars that I speak at, because it shows people that not only am I a best-selling author, but I've been featured on radio, TV, in magazines, etc. So it builds my credibility and authority with people. So PR has a dual purpose. Number two, speaking engagements. Speaking engagements are the most powerful way to position yourself before your clients. Just think with me for a moment. When you look at a speaker, they are literally standing on a platform above you, right? Especially if they're speaking to a big audience. They have been positioned by the person that's introducing them, the company that's paying for them to be there, right, as the expert. Even if they don't have a best-selling book, which they should, because most speaking engagements you won't get without having a best-selling book to begin with. But even if you don't have everything else, the fact that you are literally standing above the crowd and teaching them positions you as a massive, massive expert. I'm going to show you a couple of different things my clients have done with speaking engagements they've gotten from their books. And then the third and final way, lead generation, is really the overall goal of the book. But see, when it comes to the kind of lead generation I'm talking about, because you can do lead generation through PR, you can do lead generation through speaking, but the lead generation I'm specifically talking about is through paid advertising online. And I'm going to show you what that looks like for my business as well as for my clients. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's start first with media and PR. We've positioned in the last 3 or 4 years, we've gotten our clients over 1,000 media appearances. I have my own PR team right in the other office over there, 3 full-time publicists that all day pitch our clients, create segment proposals, and lock down media appearances in everything from the New York Times to Success, Entrepreneur, Lucky Magazine, as well as ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, you name it, we have booked our clients on those things. So we know a thing or two about it. Let me share with you an example of how a media appearance can actually lead to revenue generation. So this is my client, Kathy Heschelo. Kathy wrote this book called Anti-Aging at Its Best. It's a book on phytoceramides. Now, I didn't even know what that is. Quite honestly, don't totally know what that is, but you can see The Art of Aging Younger by Kathy Heschlow, founder of Sublime Beauty. Well, the cool thing about Sublime Beauty is they sell via Amazon and Shopify and other online stores. They sell physical products. So when Kathy got this placement in Lucky Magazine to over 1 million subscribers, you can see new year, new you, 10 beauty trends. She actually had her book as well as her products positioned. Now, in front of over 1 million people, this meant 6 figures in sales to Kathy because of this opportunity in Lucky Magazine. Now, look, again, if your ideal client isn't reading Lucky Magazine, then at the very least, you might not be able to sell physical products. You might not be able to sell coaching or consulting, but you are going to get a tremendous boost in authority and credibility. But the cool thing is, if you can position yourself on media, and if you are in a narrow space, no problem. Use podcasts, use blogs, because those are narrowly focused. That's where I do all of my personal marketing to media today, is I appear on 2 or 3 podcasts every single month, because when I do a business podcast, I know the people that are listening are my ideal clients. You can do the exact same thing by using your book to show the producer of the podcast, to show the producer of the TV show, to show the person in charge at Lucky Magazine that you are the real deal. You are an expert. So PR and media, very, very powerful because it does have a dual focus. Speaking engagements, I've already shared with you. The whole idea with speaking is you are positioned as an expert. And look, a lot of people really limit themselves when it comes to being an author and being in front of a crowd at a speaking engagement. They think in terms of selling their book, right? Or they think in terms, and you may think in terms of, hey, I want to get a speaking fee. If I can get $5,000 to speak, and if I can sell 500 copies of my book, I'm going to make $10,000. And look, hey, that's 5 figures. That's nothing to sneeze at, and that's fantastic. But do the math with me. Let's say for a moment that you want to make $500,000, right? And you're going to make $10,000 every time you speak. How many times do you need to speak in a year? Yeah, simple math. You need to speak like 50 weeks out of the year. That means you're traveling 50 weeks out of the year to make $10,000 a week. Again, not bad money, but wow, what a way to get burned out. You know, there are ways that you can make massive money if you're selling something more expensive to the crowd than a $10 book. Let me give you an example. This is my client, Karen Simpson Hankins. I'm going to share more about Karen in just a second, but Karen had never spoken before a crowd. And when we launched her book, Conquer Your Closing, wow, I actually have a copy of it right here. When we launched her book several years ago, she got an opportunity because of the list we launched it to do a speaking engagement that she was actually going to be paid to do. But stay with me, it wasn't about being paid. She was offered $2,500 to do the speaking engagement. They even said you could sell your book or anything else you want to and keep 100% of the proceeds, which she did some of that and made some extra money. But where was the big opportunity? Here was the big opportunity. Kathy is in the mortgage-related field of real estate, and she was going to speak at the Florida Association of Realtors state conference in front of over 3,000 real estate professionals. Well, if you know anything about mortgage and real estate, where do most mortgage professionals get their transactions? They get them as referrals from realtors. So there she is, standing up on a pedestal before the crowd as a best-selling author, paid to be there, and she's speaking to 3,000 of her ideal referral partners. Her business exploded. You see, the average transaction that she would do would create a fee of $3,000 to $5,000. So every transaction that she's able to get is another $3,000 to $5,000 because of all the relationships that she built at that conference. Massive, massive opportunity. So if you're speaking in front of your ideal referral partners, think of what could happen for you. Or if you're speaking in front of your ideal clients, think of what could happen. Here's another example of that. This is Richard Maybun. I don't have his book in front of me. It's actually on my shelf there. Richard is a technology strategist for financial advisory firms, RIA firms, they're called. And he works with kind of small to mid-sized financial advisory firms, and he takes care of their cybersecurity. It's a very narrow space, right? This book, Red Flags, was written specifically to RIA firms about cybersecurity. You may say, well, who bought that? Look, it doesn't matter who bought that. Look at what happened. He got a speaking engagement because of his book at a trade show. And here's what he had to say. He talked about how we helped him. That's not a big deal, but go down a little bit. And obviously it's a big deal. We helped him a lot, but you know what I mean. He said, being a best-selling author and offering a book gave us immediate credibility to our prospects. And my company was able to leverage that to raise a large amount of leads. We were able to close more than 14 clients from that particular trade show. So the book gets him an opportunity to speak at a trade show. Then he uses the book as a magnet to attract potential clients to him from the trade show. He closed 14 clients from that trade show. Doesn't sound like a lot, but do the math. Since each client has an average yearly value of more than $50,000 to our firm, that made an immediate impact on our business. You think? From one trade show, $700,000 in business. So what would you rather have? The $1.62 in royalties from selling the book, or a client that's worth 50 grand? It's a no-brainer. But see, you have to be thinking outside the box to begin with. You have to think, how can I use my book to get in front of my ideal clients? In Richard's case, it was, I can use the book to get in front of my ideal client at a trade show, at a conference. And in fact, the reason that he came to me was because he had tried to do this before, and the conferences and trade shows said, no, we don't allow speakers unless they're also published authors, which is true for a lot of conferences and trade shows. So you got to think outside the box. Yes, speak and earn a $5,000 or $10,000 fee. By the way, he wasn't paid a dime to speak at this trade show. They do not pay people to speak at their trade shows. But who cares? He made $700,000. Here's another example. This is a friend of mine and a client, Kevin Harrington. And we helped Kevin with his book, Put a Shark in Your Tank. And we have actually a new book coming out with Kevin in the next few weeks. And what Kevin did, which was really interesting, he actually is writing an introduction to my new book. And in that introduction, he recounts how he got his opportunity on Shark Tank. And I won't go into all the details, but no one had ever heard of Kevin Harrington prior to Shark Tank. That's because Kevin was always the guy behind the camera. He was the partner that found the Ginsu knife. He was the guy that discovered Tony Little Fitness. He was the guy behind the George Foreman Grill. He has over $5 billion in online and offline on TV sales, but no one knew who he was. It was his first book that positioned him in front of Mark Burnett. Actually, Mark bought his book and then reached out to Kevin. And from that, Kevin became the guy in front of the camera. Well, last year, Forbes magazine recognized Kevin as a top 3 speaker in the United States. Kevin speaks, now this goes a little against what I just said, but Kevin speaks 50 to 75 times a year, and his average speaking fee is over $25,000. He makes about $1.5 million to $2 million a year just in speaking fees alone. Plus, at those speaking opportunities, he also sells the various other things that he does, like his agency, and gets opportunities to do more products that he invests in. So massive opportunity because his first book positioned him in front of Mark Burnett and got him his Shark Tank opportunity. Very, very cool story. I shared about speaking. I shared about media and PR. Let me share a little bit about lead generation. Lead generation. Now, You can generate leads through media and PR. I shared that. You can generate leads through speaking engagements. I'm specifically talking about using advertising, and this could be offline or online. I'm mainly going to show you examples of online advertising to generate leads with your book. So let me give you a couple of examples. Shanda Sumter is a good friend and client of mine. Probably have Shanda's book here somewhere, buried with all these other books right there of my clients. But Shanda uses her book in something called a free plus shipping funnel. A free plus shipping funnel is where you offer your book free to someone, and all they have to do is pay for shipping of, say, $6.95 or $7.95, which actually covers the printing and the shipping of the book. So you're not really spending anything out of your pocket printing-wise and shipping-wise, but you're getting someone that is a fantastic lead that is willing to pull their credit card out of their wallet and say, I want to spend at least $7 to get this book shipped to me, because online it's for sale for $24.95. Well, she did that and generated 11,572 leads, of which she has a sales team, they called and offered coaching calls to. And when they offered coaching calls to people that wanted Shanda's book, right, she upsold a percentage of those people into a $10,000, what she calls her PACE Club. So literally in about a 3 to 4 month period, giving her book away, free plus shipping, she made over $409,000. If you've been on Facebook, and you have because you found me, and I do a lot on Facebook and Instagram, I am sure you've seen people like Brendan Bouchard, like Robert Kiyosaki, like Russell Brunson, giving their book away, like Expert Secrets, giving it away for free plus shipping. Why are they doing that? Because they're making a massive amount on the back end of their book through a free plus shipping book funnel, and you can do the same thing. It doesn't have to be complicated with all these upsells and downsells. It can be as simple as free book about this cool thing that relates to this coaching program, and then let's get on the phone and see if you're a fit for my coaching program. This is Lady Boss. You can find her at ladyboss.com. Kaylin Toole. We helped Kaylin with her book, Big Fat Lies, right here, which became the #1 book on all of Barnes & Noble in the country and a #1 book on Amazon in probably 8 or 9 different categories, something like that. It has almost 400 4- and 5-star reviews. Kaylin does the same thing. She offers the book for free plus a small shipping charge, and then sells her various programs and products ranging from $97 all the way up to a few $1,000s. And she makes money every single month, about 6 figures a month through this process, something that you can do as well. This is my friend and client, Taki Moore. I'm looking for Taki's book. I don't see it right in front of me, but I'm certain I have it here somewhere. Taki uses his book also in a free plus shipping funnel, but he gets it in front of his ideal clients so that he can sell tickets to events, so that he can sell clients in group coaching as well. And of course, he offers his book for sale and does very, very well with it. Same exact kind of model. This is my client, Jim Hansen, very, very different. Jim was the CEO of franchising for Subway. Started with them when they had 6 stores 30 years ago, took them to over 20,000 franchise locations. They were actually at one time the largest franchise in the country. And Jim, when he went to a new franchise, needed some new positioning. So we helped him do this book, Secrets of Choosing a Franchise. And so he drove people and attracted people to him as a franchise expert, and then sold some of those people into his new franchise opportunity. This is what he said here. I only get better by being with players that are better than me, an atmosphere where people are striving for excellence. That's what Rob's group does. In the last 90 days, I've produced $178,600 in income, and a lot of it has to do with the work I'm doing with Rob. He generated leads through his book to sell his franchise opportunity, and then sold his franchise opportunity to the tune of $178,000 in just a first 90-day period. He went on to do millions in sales of his franchise as well. Just spoke to Jim like 3 weeks ago. He's doing better than ever as America's franchise coach. I'm trying to open and expand your mind of ways that you can use your book to grow your business. This is what my calendar looks like every day. Okay, every single day. In fact, I can go off this and I can probably even show it to you really quick. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, here we go. So this is my inbox, and this is today, and you can see this is yesterday. So every single day I get multiple strategy session applications. Remember I told you 300 to 500 people a month apply to work with Bestseller Publishing. So today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 already. Yesterday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The day yesterday. So every single day, people apply with us so that they can determine, are we a fit to work together, right? My author development coaches do those calls because I can't do 10 calls a day. These calls take 30 to 60, even sometimes as long as 90 minutes for us to describe what we do, really find out what our potential clients are looking for. But imagine, what would your business look like if every single day you woke up in the morning and your mailbox, your inbox was full of people saying, hey, I want to work with you, and I'm going to answer these 8 questions to determine whether or not you think we're a fit to work together. For most of us, it would be life-changing. And for me, it has become life-changing. I have this little slogan, right? I've gone from hunting for clients to the hunted. Now people hunt for me, right? Now they come after me. Every day in my inbox, people are coming after me. Will you work with me? Will you take me on? Am I a good fit for you? And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that this is all positioned because of my book, my clients' books, and you can engineer the exact same thing in your business as well. No question about it. Let me give you a brief case study, and then I want to get some feedback from you. I want to ask you a question. I've been going pretty hard now already. So case study. This is my client, Karen Simpson-Hankins. I already mentioned her. This is her book here, Conquer Your Closing, that we did for her some years ago. 37-year mortgage veteran, fantastic lady. We launched the book, made it a bestseller in multiple categories, and Karen is a worker. She went after this and went after media and PR. In a period of a year, Karen was featured on over 100 radio and podcast episodes, 100 in a year period. Okay, so that means every single week she was doing 2 or 3 radio interviews or podcasts. She got speaking engagement opportunities. I got this email from her some time ago. This is a while ago that we did this. She says, hey, Rob, I had to share some big news. I got a shocking phone call. I belong to the National Association of Professional Women. It's a network and educational organization for women with over 500,000 members. They just called and told me, for all my work that I've been doing this year to educate home buyers and protect their interests, what's the work? Book. Book became a bestseller. 100 radio shows. She ended up getting her own radio show, featured speaking opportunities, right? For all the work that I've been doing, I have been selected as a 2013 NAPW National Professional Woman of the Year for my industry. Wow, I didn't see that coming. She probably should have, right? I will be featured in a full-page article in their national magazine, and I guess there's going to be media coverage. Well, she was actually wrong about one thing, and that is they have more than 700,000 members nationally, and she was the 2013 NAPW Woman of the Year. Her business exploded because of the opportunities that it led to. What would yours look like if you had these kind of opportunities coming to you? So I want some feedback from you, just a minute or two, but I want you to go to your chat box right now and tell me, how would it feel to have your calendar filled with qualified potential clients? Tell me, what would it feel like? Or the opportunity, like Karen, to speak to thousands of your potential clients, people that you are reaching. What would it feel like? Take a moment and type in the question box right now. I won't read specific names of who's typing. How would it feel to have your inbox look like this, or speak to thousands of potential clients every single day? Take a moment, type in the chat box. I want to hear from you. So yes, like I was making the world a better place. Yeah, not only would it feel like that, but if what you're teaching is powerful to people, you would be making the world a better place. Yes, it would be amazing. Absolutely, it would be amazing. Fantastic, because I would finally, it would be awesome for me, and I would finally be out of exchanging time for dollars. Beautiful. It would feel as though my goals are being reached. Totally would feel as though your goals are being reached. I would feel that I'm on the road to helping people. You would totally be on the road. You wouldn't have to feel that. That would be the reality. Type in the chat box, how would it feel for you to be actually speaking to that many people or having your inbox filled with qualified potential clients? What would the emotions be? What would the feeling be? What would it be for your family? What would it be for your friends? Yes, fantastic. It would be amazing. Yes, I feel like Moses felt on the way to Egypt. I would be proud. Absolutely, right? There's so much to be proud of. There's so much. There's such an impact and an opportunity for you to make on the world. The feeling would be exhilarating. Yes, it would be exhilarating, 100%. Remember, your best-selling book is your gateway to your seven-figure and beyond business, to the life and to the impact that you want to make. I would finally reach my dream to assist others and conquer their fears and achieve their goals. Yes, I feel that my expertise of my topic would provide wisdom and knowledge. Of course it would, absolutely. And you would be walking through the gateway to the kind of income and the impact that your expertise deserves. So listen, I shared with you, and we have more to talk about, but I shared with you, I don't have an offer for you. I'm not trying to sell you anything, and you can put your credit card away. But this is a way, if what we've talked about thus far is something that you want for your business, then this is what you need to do. Go to publishmybestseller.com/apply. publishmybestseller.com/apply. The page looks like this. It's a short video from me, and it's an application on the right-hand side with 6 or 7 questions for you to answer to tell us a little bit about where you're at. Have you already written a book or not written a book? What do you need help with? Do you want to get on TV, radio? Do you want speaking engagements? Do you want your book to be a bestseller? And to tell us a little bit about your expertise. Fill out an application at publishmybestseller.com/apply. Here it is right here. That's what it looks like. publishmybestseller.com. Do that now. You don't need to see the rest of it. If what you've seen is enough thus far, then go ahead. You'll speak to one of my author development coaches. We will have a good conversation as to the results that you want to achieve in your business, the reality of where you're at right now, and the roadblocks, the areas that you're stuck, to give you a plan to get out of all of that. And yes, we'll also determine if we're a good fit to potentially work together. This is the only way that we ever determine if we're a fit to work together, is we've got to get on the telephone and we've got to find out if we are compatible, if we can help you with what your goals are. So as I said, nothing to buy, nothing at all for sale on this. There's no credit card. This is a free call, but go to publishmybestseller.com/apply, and let's see if we're a fit to have these kind of results like all the clients I just shared with you and we help them with. Let's see if we can get those kind of results for you. Okay. Let's dive into secret number 2. I'm going to go through each of these secrets, and at the end, I'm going to share with you, again, that link to see whether or not you want to do a call with us. And I want engagement from you, so stay with me, and thank you for all of you who engaged. I know there were more of you that said a few things, and I didn't get to it, so forgive me for that. I still love you. All right. Secret number 2. How to hit the bestseller list in any genre, even if you have no list, no following, and no platform whatsoever. I want to begin with this because just probably 2 months ago now, I was back from the United Nations. And I helped my clients do this book, Florencia, An Accidental Story. And the book Florencia was and is a book to launch for Douglas Bowman and John Mullen, my clients, to launch a charitable organization that would help those that need artificial limbs in Mozambique. Douglas is a pastor. John Mullen is a very successful businessman, and they were motivated internally because of a trip to Mozambique to really do something amazing. Well, as you might imagine, there are many opportunities to give charitable giving-wise. And so to start a new charity is not the easiest thing in the world. They decided that they wanted to use their book. Well, in a period of about 3 months, this book, Florencia, helped them raise $250,000. It got them an audience with the president of Mozambique, who then wrote a foreword for the book, which we put in a new version of the book for them. And they were also asked to speak to the Indian ambassadors, the Indian consulate, which I flew out to New York, and to speak to the General Council of the United Nations, of which I went to. We're doing a whole cool video because we took a bunch of video from it. That's Doug and John. I took that picture of us at the United Nations. That's the Iraqi ambassador to the United Nations. Next to him is the Kuwaiti ambassador to the United Nations. Both of them shared about the impact that this book had on them. And I did a short video with John and Douglas that I thought I would play for you guys. So hopefully you can hear this. If you can't hear it, let me know. If there's a challenge hearing it, just type in the chat box that you can't hear it okay, because sometimes there is an issue with the vocals on it. Let me say one thing just to outline the results, and then, you know, because the story, you're telling the story, and I'm always thinking, what's in it for me, right? So I'm thinking that for the people on the training, they're wondering, okay, that's a great story, what's in it for me? And maybe they're not, because it's a moving story, but you know, in 3 months, this book went from, you know, nothing an idea for 15 years, but it went, you know, became a book. It ended up on the desk of the president of Mozambique, who then offered to write the foreword. You guys have raised $250,000 just in a few months for your new charity. You've been asked to speak at the United Nations and have built relationships with the largest NGO, non-government organization, humanitarian organization in the world, Jack Bar Foot, all because of the connections that you've made through this book and this story. And so I know you're going to share that, but I just want to lay out that this is how fast something can happen. And Douglas, by all means, you know, take over. I just wanted to lay some you know, foundation in for everybody so they understand like what you've been able to do in such a short period of time.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. You know, it's fascinating because I've heard this. This is my 6th time I've heard you give your spiel, and I enjoy it each time. And one of the things I want to hook up with is really what's written from the other colleagues and potential colleagues is written almost every time you give this. And I think that the ingredient of passion for the end user is so important. You know, so many have said, well, I would like to build up people and relationships. I would like to do this. If you make those people your passion more than a book your passion, your book will be produced and it will sell.
It's great.
Because I think it's all about passion. But for us, we had a couple of, you know, we were sort of looking around at how can we communicate, how can we raise funds. And while we were sort of writing the book, and we had 2 or 3 events, and we, what should we say, we misspent a bit of money that got us absolutely nowhere. And which is why you got 5 hearings before I would even tell John about Rob Kosberg. But
yeah,
once I became convinced, well, you know me, once I'm convinced, I'm convinced.
It took 5 times. Come on. So John took
it's the
previous
negative, right. It's the previous negative experiences.
Right.
And, you know, I think if people listening to you can overcome their fear, get some self-belief, have some passion, and with some guidance, anybody can produce the book. And, but I talked to John, I said, you know, the other thing is, John's got great connectivity with you because he ran into the recession as well. And there is something about somebody who's moved beyond, right, somebody who's moved beyond the wall that they hit, as opposed to just inspecting the bricks, really is very strong. And so, and we found you just, you know, you sounded like someone with integrity, and we found out you to be someone with integrity. And that.
Let me say one thing just to outline Let me say one. Oops, sorry. The important point in that, and it's a little bit longer, but the important point in that is they had no list, they had no platform, they had no following. What's the point of the promote piece? The point of the promote piece is how you can become a bestseller, but in becoming a bestseller, get in front of your ideal people, make a huge impact. They had no platform, no list, no nothing. In a 3-month period of time, they went from completely unknown to raising $250,000 to speaking at the United Nations, which probably in 2 or 3 weeks we'll have the final video of everything that we did at the United Nations, getting in front of the president of Mozambique, having the president of Mozambique write their forward. All of this happened, and you can do the exact same thing. Here's the deal, though. This image is representative of what traditional publishers will tell you. Traditional publishers make it so hard. They think that you have to have a massive platform. And in fact, they tell you, we don't even want to deal with you unless you have a massive platform. If you have the cure for cancer and you tell a traditional publisher that you have the cure for cancer, their questions are going to be, how big's your email list? How big's your social media following? How many friends on Facebook do you have? How big's your business? That's what they want to know. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't need them. You don't need to create a 50-page proposal. You don't need to shop it around. You don't need to build, a podcast with 1 million downloads a month. None of that is necessary. What you need is you need to launch your book, right? This is the image that I want to burn into your mind when it comes to making your book a bestseller. Understand this. When it comes to your book and launching your book, right now, every single week, thousands of new books are being launched. In fact, about 1 million books this year will be launched on Amazon. So you have all of this competition, right? It's like the gravity pulling you back down. Thousands of marketing messages are going out to your ideal buyer of your book, your ideal client every single day. So you've got to cut through all of that noise, right? And you've got to do that upon the launch of the book. This image of the space shuttle on its fuel tank and with the rocket boosters is a great illustration. You see, about 85% of the fuel and 85% of the boost is used by a rocket to get out of the Earth's atmosphere. After it gets out of the Earth's atmosphere, the rocket boosters fall to the ground, the fuel tank falls to the ground, and it only needs a small amount of fuel to go faster and faster and faster and maintain orbit around the Earth. But see, it's got to use all of that power initially or it won't be paid attention to. And the same thing is true about your book. So let me give you some specifics when it comes to it. There are 5 key elements, and I'm going to give you what those 5 are, and we're going to go into greater detail. But element number 1 is design. You need a powerful title, a beautiful cover, and a great interior of your book. It needs to be formatted professionally because you will get flamed if your book is done poorly. Number 2 is what we call the soft launch. The soft launch or the review phase is where you want to focus out of the gate getting 4- and 5-star Amazon verified reviews. Amazon verified reviews means that people actually purchase the book that are reviewing it. It's not people that you're giving the book to for free that are reviewing it, although that's fine too, but it's Amazon verified reviews because Amazon gives more weight to that. 3 press releases. When we do a launch, a 1-week launch for our clients, we write 3 specific press releases, and I'll share more details. But a couple of the press release agencies are like WebWire or PR Web, and yes, it can cost, on the low side $50, on the high side $1,000 for a press release that's released to 1,000 media agencies with 100 or more of them picking them up. You want to do free and paid advertising. We use 50 to 70 international websites where people have already raised their hands and said, I'm interested in finance, or I'm interested in politics, or I'm interested in wellness and health. I'm interested in business and making money online. Whatever it is, there are plenty of people out there that are interested in your topic. You've just got to get in front of them. And then a social media campaign to put it in front of 100,000 to 1 million people a day, primarily on Facebook and on Twitter, although you can use LinkedIn and Instagram and others. And when you do all of these, you can guarantee real international bestseller status with thousands of people downloading your book in just the first week alone. In fact, our average client gets a low of 2,000 to a high of as many as 15,000 downloads in the first week alone, okay? So we're not talking about some little scammy thing, right, where you and 80 of your buddies, or you go to one of these events, which, by the way, people actually teach this. There are people that will charge you $1,000 to $3,000 to go to an event with 60 other people. And do you know what the secret sauce is? All 60 of you are going to buy each other's book for 99 cents and become bestsellers. Wow. Like, that's real. Of course that's not real. We're talking about real advertising, real press releases, real social media. When you do it the right way, you make a real impact, and the rest is history, as they say. So let's deal with each one of these things a little bit more specifically. So design. And when I say design, I mean cover design, I mean interior design, and I mean the design of your title as well, okay? So there are a couple of things you need to know when it comes to design. Number one, always when it comes to your title, when it comes to your cover, put yourself in your audience's shoes. In other words, don't use a phrase for your title that your ideal client has no idea what that is, okay? You need to speak to them specifically. Food cures, right? So you get it immediately. I know what this is about. The 7 habits of highly effective people. Bam, right? How to win friends and influence people. Bam, I get it immediately what this is about. Number 2, make a statement emotionally. Like, don't be afraid to, walk this line and offend people. I tell my clients that magnets attract, but magnets also repel, right? The funny thing about the presidential election, and I don't care who you voted for, and you don't know if I even voted, let alone who I voted for, is that we had 2 of the most hated people in the country run for president. One side of the aisle hated the other one. The other side of the aisle hated the other one. And yet one of them actually won, right? Like, don't be afraid to stand on your convictions for what you believe. You'll attract the right people to you, and you'll repel the wrong people from you, and that is totally fine. Number 3, get some feedback. Like, ask your clients, ask on social media what they think of your cover, what they think of your title. I do that with my newest book that's coming out. I put 5 titles and 5 cover images in front of people, and I asked them, what did you think? And I got dozens and dozens of responses. And I picked the top 2 that I liked, and then went against them, and I picked the one that everybody loved, which actually was the one I loved too, but that's only coincidental. Sometimes it's the opposite of what you think, okay? So make sure that your design is beautiful, that your title speaks to your ideal client, and that your interior design is awesome as well. All that needs to be in line. Reviews. This article came out in CNN Money. Amazon sues more than 1,000 sellers of fake product reviews. Why is that important? Because Amazon is a search engine. And as a search engine, Amazon has an algorithm. Their algorithm is heavily dependent upon reviews of a book, or in this case, reviews of products. So you need to make sure that out of the gate, you get a good number. And we recommend a minimum of 7 to 10. But if you just do a little elbow grease, work a little bit, you can get 50, 80, 100. Harris Rules has 250 5-star reviews. Conquer Your Closing, which this is a book that came out years ago, I think it has 80 or 90 5-star reviews. Kalen's book, Big Fat Lies, has almost 400 4- and 5-star reviews. Now mine a lot less, because I only focused on it in the beginning. Remember, when I wrote this book in the very beginning, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I have like 50, 52 reviews. But when someone goes to one of these books and sees 50 reviews, they're like, okay, must be a pretty good book. If they go to your book and they see 1 review, 2 reviews, what are they thinking? Probably not a good book, okay? So reviews are really, really important. 3, 4, and 5, which are press releases, social media, and paid advertising, all happen at the same 1-week period, okay? This is how you launch it, right? All the rocket boost and fuel needs just blow it up. And this is in a 1-week period. So the first thing we do are 3 press releases. We order these in advance. Press release goes out the day before the launch of the book. When we launch a client's book, it's a 1-week period. Press release number one goes out the day before the launch, basically announcing the launch as news. Remember, press releases are news, so it's not me trying to sell you something. We are making something newsworthy. Press release number 2 goes out in the middle of the launch, and we actually announce in press release number 2 that the book has already hit bestseller. Because when we do what we need to do, when you do all of what I'm explaining, then your book is going to hit bestseller on the first day. It's going to explode, right? Got to get the sucker off the launch pad. And then the last press release goes out on the last day of launch, basically saying, hey, look, the book is on promo only for a short period of time. If you want this bestseller book, you got to get it right now. So each one creates urgency and scarcity during the 1-week launch period. The second thing we do during this 1-week launch period is daily, we go in front of Facebook groups and on Twitter we do over 1 million people a day. I tell people you got to do at least 100,000 to 1 million. There are groups on Twitter and groups on Facebook, hashtags, but groups on Facebook that are really specific, like really, really specific to whatever you have written about. And if you've done a good job with your title and it really speaks to them and your cover, then guess what? When you put it in front of them, they're going to go, wow, we're a financial group and that's a book on finance and it's on promo. I want that thing, right? Now, if you didn't do a good job on title, you didn't do a good job on cover, and you're not putting it in front of anybody, then of course you're not going to get any result. But when you go in front of these massive groups, and by the way, this is so important to us that I actually bought, yes, you can buy Facebook groups. You know how you do it? You go to the administrator, little inside trading tip. You go to the administrator and say, hey, look, we want to administrate this page. We'll even pay you and take it over. And I've done that with big groups in the book space so that I could control the traffic and I could send my clients' books through them. So we have, 250,000 or so really specific people in our groups that we advertise our clients' books to. You don't have to buy them. I'm just saying that they're out there for you to get in front of. And then next is paid advertising. And look, this goes without saying, but let me explain it to you. Traditional publishers say, you need a platform or we're not interested in you. And I'm here to tell you, someone else has already built your platform, right? If you did a book on fitness, guess what? There's 100 fitness blogs that have millions of followers. There's 100 podcasts on fitness that you could get in front of or get on, right? You can pay just a few dollars to get in front of someone else's audience that has already been built on your subject. You don't need to spend 5 years building 1 million downloads a month in a podcast when you can just get in front of their people, right? So paid advertising allows you to do this, okay? And you can do that. Now, all 3 of those things are the things that you do all together at the same time, and that gives you the rocket boost to get the shuttle, right, your book, out of the Earth's atmosphere. And this has worked for us for almost 500 authors now in more than 26 countries, more than 26 categories and more than 13 countries all around the world. Let me give you just a few examples of these, just a few. Ted and Andrew Coleman wrote this book, The Nehemiah Effect, which is a book to agile consultants of manufacturing firms, okay? It's an agile consulting book to manufacturing firms, right? In other words, tiny, tiny target. Hot new release, top-rated book, #1. I'm going to share more about them in a moment. This is a book that we helped a network marketer do, #1 in coaching, consulting, multi-level marketing. This is, I showed you Harris Rules right here. You can see right out of the gate, 249 5-star reviews. This book became #1 in multiple categories, hot new release, top-rated book. Financial advice book we did for a client, #1 in multiple categories, hot new release, top-rated book. This is a business fiction book that we did for a client, #1 in business and management, #1 in multiple categories, This is a fitness book we did for Heidi Moneymaker. Heidi actually is, that's her real name, by the way, Heidi Moneymaker. Heidi is the #1 stunt woman in Hollywood. She is Scarlett Johansson's stunt doubles. So anytime you watch a Marvel movie or anything like that, that's Heidi that does all the stunts. We launched her book. We actually helped her ghostwrite it and all that. She did this for her fitness program, #1 in multiple categories. Shanda Sumter, I shared about Shanda. We did her book for her, launched it. Hot new release, top-rated book, #1 in multiple categories. This is a book we did for a Fortune 500 CEO of a billion-dollar company, John Hewitt. John is the CEO of Liberty Tax. We did 2 books for him. We did his autobiography, and we did his company book, #1 in multiple categories. We've done multiple cookbooks. I showed you in the beginning, Mia Moran's. This is another book we did for Gino Barbaro, #1 book. The point is, it doesn't matter the category. We do the same thing every single time. This is my client, Delano Lewis. He is we got a bad echo. Let me change things in case it's echoing. Hold on one moment. Hang on just a second. Bear with me. All right, let's make sure that that's better. And there I am. There's my mug again. That should be better. Right, good. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again, jump right into it. Sorry about that. Let's see here. So Delano Lewis, he's the former U.S. ambassador to South Africa, worked directly with Nelson Mandela in the Clinton administration. He was also the CEO of National Public Radio. We did his book for him. So, politics, you name it. This is a book, other end of the spectrum, a book about Jesus. We helped our client get on TV, get on national radio. He was even outselling Joel Osteen during the launch of his book. So yes, amazing things. I showed you Kaylin's book, Big Fat Lies, right here. Became the #1 book on all of Barnes & Noble. Did amazing things. Obviously, #1 in multiple categories, hot new release, etc. This is my client, Mitch Russo. He was the CEO of Tony Robbins' company called Business Breakthroughs. We launched his book for him. Hot new release, top-rated book, #1 book. Blah blah blah. You get it, right? I'm sharing with you that the same process, right? We didn't do anything different. The same process over and over and over again will work. I don't care what your category is. I don't care what it is that you're looking to do, what your book is about, what you're writing about. Absolutely, positively, this will work for you. Let me give you a quick case study. This is Ted Kallman. Ted did his book, The Nehemiah Effect. Here's the interesting thing that I think will be helpful for you about Ted and his book. He actually launched his book on his own and didn't do any of the things that I have just taught you that you need to do. And his book went, it didn't do anything. It didn't get off the pad, right? So he came to me afterwards and said, hey, what can we do? And I said, well, we can do a launch. You can actually launch your book. Even if you wrote your book a year ago and published it and it didn't do very well, you can still relaunch that book. You can launch it later. And that's what we did with Ted. That's why it's a good case study for me to share about with you. Because maybe some of you have published your book and you're like, it didn't do anything, Rob. I guess I need to write a new one. No, you don't need to write a whole new one. You can still use that book and just launch it the right way. We launched it, became the #1 book in business consulting, #1 book in business project management, #1 book in industries. It was a hot new release and a top-rated book in business. It was a hot new release and a top-rated book in business consulting. He sent me this Facebook post not long after. They talked about being #1 in multiple categories for 3 of the last 7 months. He says, as a result of that visibility, I landed a number of contracts and speaking engagements. The most recent contract was at $2,000 per day for 20 days over 2 months. That's $40,000. That's one contract. They just extended another 20 days. I've run the numbers and I can make that work. Of course he can. That's agile consulting humor right there. Yeah, that's $80,000 from one contract. He told me just from the launch of his book, he did over $250,000. Not from sales of the book, from contracts he got. He goes on. Also, a friend is a ghostwriter for Wiley Morgan James. They read the book and liked it. This led to an intro and a 1-hour chat. It goes on. They get 5,000 submissions. They take 100 a year, and they offered us a contract and advance for our next book titled Flow, which is a follow-up book to our first. So get this. They got offered a high 5-figure book advance because this book did so well. But why did this book do well? It did well because of the launch strategy. And so not only did he make money from the launch strategy, but he got a traditional publisher to write him a good-sized check and to do it all over again for a brand new book. So I don't know what your goal is. Maybe your goal is to get a traditional publishing deal. Well, if you launch your book, your first one right, you may make so much money that you go, hey, I don't even want a traditional publishing deal. Or you may get a big traditional publishing deal because of it. So there's lots of things and opportunities. So let me get some feedback from you. I want comments. I want you to dive into chat now. How would it help you? And I want specifics. How would it help you if your book was in the hand of thousands of your potential clients? How would that help you? See, we help Ted and Andrew get their book into the hands of thousands of their potential clients. How would it help you? Go to the chat box. Some of you are asking questions. I can't answer the questions right now. So go to the chat box and tell me, how would it specifically help you if your book was in thousands of your potential clients' hands? Yes, you would get speaking engagements opportunities. Absolutely. Ted and Andrew got speaking engagement opportunities. Yes, you would potentially get on media and PR, right? You might get on TV. Someone says it would definitely be huge. Yeah, but how specifically would it? Ted and Andrew made $250,000 just from the launch of the book. Why? Because people got the book and said, these guys know what they're talking about. They're the authorities. I want to deal with them. How would it help you? Yes, you would get new clients. 100% you would. You would get new consulting opportunities. Yes. Financial advisor. Yes, you would get new opportunities to give financial advice to people. 100% you would. So how would it help you if your book were in thousands of your potential clients' hands? This is about getting the next step after the book, right? The next thing. It would help you scale up your business. Yes, it would increase your revenue. A book can trend or scale up. How do we know that? You know, that's part of why we have to do this. So a question was asked, how do we know? Whoops. Let's go back. How do we know? Your book is your gateway, right? So how do we know? Here's what you need to do. Go to publishmybestseller.com/apply. Remember, there's nothing for sale here. I'm not selling anything. But the way that we determine, the way that we help you in answer to your question, to see whether or not your book would scale and your book would really do for you what you want, is we get on the telephone with you in an author development coaching call to determine, is this somebody, is this an idea? Are you an idea or somebody whose idea we can help to blow up like we did so many of these others that I've already shared with you? So you have to go, and here's what I would suggest. We have one more section, but if you've heard what you need to hear so far, then go to publishmybestseller.com, okay, right now, publishmybestseller.com/apply. Publishmybestseller.com/apply, okay? Do that now, and then you're going to see a page just like this one, okay? It's going to have a short video from me. The video should autoplay, but if it doesn't, click the button. And the only way you can find that page is through watching this presentation. It's the only way you can find it. There's nothing for you to buy, okay? But on the right side is an application. And I'm going to ask you some questions on that application. Then after that application, you're going to be taken to some more training and some case studies for you to look at. And then we're going to review your application and get on the telephone with you, help you, give you a great plan, answer your questions, but we're going to have a few questions of our own to determine whether or not we can really help you. If we feel like we can help you, then we are going to make you an offer for us to do this together and really explode your business. Yes, some of you are saying, I like what I'm hearing. Yes, I mean, like I said, put your credit cards away. There's nothing for you to buy on this. Lower your guard. But the only way you can determine if your idea has merit, the only way you can determine whether or not we're a fit to work together is publishmybestseller.com/apply. That's it, okay? So yeah, someone's saying that, hey, I talked to a coach, William, there was no pressure and super informative. Yeah, I mean, and our author development coaches that are right here, they're right on the other side of that door, are here to help, to guide, to give you a plan. But obviously, we're doing that because we want to find those that we can help, like, do amazing things for. So if you've heard what you need to hear, then jump off, go to publishmybestseller.com/apply, answer the questions. There's no calendar for you to schedule an appointment. We want to do some research on you. We want to do some research on your idea. We need you to fill out the application completely. Tell us why we should work together. Remember, we get 300 to 500 of these right here, like every day. We get 300 to 500 of these applications every month. We get these every single day, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, every single day. So fill out the application completely and then submit. You'll get some other free training that I'm giving you. You'll get some other case studies, and then we'll call you and determine if we're going to be a great fit to work together. So again, lastly, publishmybestseller.com/apply. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the last and final secret, how to get your book done in no time flat without having to grind daily over thousands of words or lock yourself in a cabin in the woods for 6 months. We call this the publish phase. And really, this is the beginning of everything, but I've gone kind of backwards. I talked about the profit phase. I talked about promoting your book. Now I'm going to talk about the actual writing phase, because this is where maybe a lot of you are stuck. You're stuck if you're in the old way of thinking. You're in the old way of thinking that you need to be a daily writer and write 1,000 words a day, or you need to write through writer's block, or you need to go away to a cabin in the woods, or do these awful interview sessions with a ghostwriter, which is not what we do, and it is not what works. No wonder no one finishes a book, right? 81% want to, less than 1% actually do. And probably if I were to ask and survey those of you on this training, I would find that you've been stuck for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and stuck in this writing phase of getting your book done. The best example I can give you is my client, Delano Lewis. Delano is a great man and reached the height of politics and the height of business before I ever met him and he came to me. He was the U.S. ambassador in the Clinton administration, working directly with Nelson Mandela to South Africa. He was also the CEO previously of National Public Radio, NPR. He sat on the board of Colgate-Palmolive for 20 years. When he came to me, he had been wanting to write his book for over 5 years, but was stuck. He tried a ghostwriter, that didn't work. He tried to grind it out himself, that didn't work. And I thought, you know what? If someone as successful as Delano Lewis can't get it done, no wonder guys like me struggled with it, right? So here's the challenge. Here's what I found. There is a fast and simple way to get your book done, and this is what I'm going to cover in the next few moments. First, you have to start with what we call a strong foundation. If you are just sitting down and writing aimlessly, no wonder you're not getting anywhere. Does any architect throw bricks into a pile and hope that a skyscraper pops out? Of course not. You have to dig a deep and strong foundation first. Secondly, we do something called an AMQ, or an author market questionnaire. What that is a deep dive, and I'm going to share more about it, into the psyche of your ideal client so we can create the hook, the title, and the subtitle. We need to answer the question, what's in it for your reader? What's in it for your client? And I'll share more about all of this. This way, your table of contents becomes your process rather than your life story. Hybrid ghostwriting is what we use to create content. I'll share more about the details of that. And then all you need to do is edit and refine your book's content, professionally design your cover, and professionally format and publish your book. This is what we do with our clients' books, right? That we actually take through our hybrid ghostwriting process and actually design and format and publish and everything. So we've done hundreds of these. We know what we're doing when it comes to creating these. So let's start first when it comes to the foundation. The foundation is the what it is that you're writing about. Understand this. No disrespect meant or intended when I say this, but unless your name is Kim Kardashian or Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, no one wants to know your life story. You don't want to know the life story of Rob Kosberg. You don't. Why? Because I'm not a big name celebrity person, right? So you writing your memoirs or autobiography is more just for you and your family, which may be a good reason to do it, right? I'm writing a book called Things You Should Know. That's really a book to my children. And if others buy it, great. And if they don't, I don't even care, right? Because it's not about my business. It's for that purpose of legacy. On the other hand, here's what you can do. You can tell your story, but if you position your story to meet the needs of your client and you figure out the problems and concerns that are going on in their mind right now, and then position your story to help them, now your story is important. It's not your autobiography. It's not your memoir. It is your solution to their problems, which are similar to your problems. Now we have a foundation that's strong. I hope you understand the difference there. It's still your story, but it's your story positioned in a completely different way. How many of you know what this saying is? W-I-I-F-M. It's Zig Ziglar, and I'm dating myself, but I don't care. I'm 53, by the way. Zig Ziglar used to have this saying, we're all listening to the same radio station, and some of you are writing out what the radio station is. The radio station is What's in It for Me, right? W-I-I-F-M. That's the station that everyone is listening to. Your ideal client is not listening to the radio station of Rob Kosberg, right, or your name. They're listening to the, why would I buy this book, right? Because I want to know what's in it for me to buy it. Okay. Big fat lies. How everything you've been told about losing weight is full of lies, and these are the truths that help me lose 65 pounds without giving up pizza and ice cream. That, if I'm interested in losing weight, not giving up pizza and ice cream, is of interest to me. Now, is it full of Kalen's story? Of course it is. But it's more positioned to deal with the needs of your ideal client. We do this thing called the Author Market Questionnaire, as I made mention to. It is a deep dive into the fears, frustrations, wants, and aspirations of my client's client, right? Of your client. So we want to know what are the conversations that are going on in their head that are daily frustrations in their life as it relates to how you can help them. What are the fears that they have as it relates to how you can help them? If it's a financial book and they're in debt, well, guess what they're afraid of? They're afraid of bankruptcy. They're afraid of losing their house, right? What are their frustrations? Their frustrations might be that creditors are calling them, right? We need to answer those things in the content. And when we do, we got magic. Because now we're speaking their language and we can create a hook. We can create language and a table of contents that hooks them, that brings them to us, right? That's how we build a solid foundation. Now, once you do that, you still need to write it. And many people are stuck just like this little guy. Well, here's what I have found. When it comes to how you write your book, we do something called hybrid ghostwriting. And here's how hybrid ghostwriting works. As you can see, I have an image of a TED Talk on the screen. If you've ever listened to a great TED or TEDx talk, they always follow the same program. And if you don't know what that is, go to TED.com or TEDx.com and watch some of the best ones. They're only 18 minutes long. Don't do that now. Do it later. They're 18 minutes long, which coincidentally is a great length for a chapter. How do they work? Well, they always start with a captivating story, oftentimes from their life or from science or from history. And then they leave like an open loop. In other words, they don't culminate the story, but they lead from the story into the points that they're trying to make. Point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. Then at the end, they close the loop. They culminate the story. They close strong, maybe with a new story. This is the way that you can create a compelling chapter in your book. You start with story. You leave an open loop and don't culminate it. You hit the main points of that particular chapter. You close the loop, culminate the story, and then do next steps. When we have our clients create content like this with our full-time ghostwriters, of which we have 11, we capture the voice of our client. I have found that 7 out of 10 authors, this one included, that at one time paid a ghostwriter was incredibly unsatisfied with what was produced. This guy too. I wrote a massive check to a ghostwriter 11 years ago when I was trying to write my first book, this one right here. They got me back a product because the normal ghostwriting process of this interview doesn't capture your voice. So you have to create content in the way I just outlined with you. And when you do, then your voice is captured. Now you still need to edit it because the spoken word is different than the written word. And it still needs to be proofread, and it still needs to be formatted, and it still needs to be done beautifully. But the hardest part of capturing the voice can be done right here. Well, this is what Delano said, because after he came to us and we did this process with him, here's what he said. Rob has a system that works. He takes a personal interest in his authors, and to me, it was a one-stop shop. That was a savings of time, energy, and money, but also helped finally move this project forward in a very efficient way. My thanks go out to Rob and BSP because they helped me become a bestseller. We actually got him featured on 9 TV channels. This is one of the TV stations that our team featured him on. We launched his book. It became an international bestseller, and he's actually in the process of doing his second book now, all after waiting over 5 years of struggling with ghostwriters and trying to do it on his own. This, I'm telling you, this process works. Let me give you a quick case study. I'm going to open it up for a question or two, and then we're done with the content. I want to go right back to what the next steps are for you. Mike Dieterich, I should have his book right here in front of me, but I don't. Great guy. He's an environmental scientist, ran a very small environmental consulting company called Renew and Sustain. He wanted to blow up his business. He knew that if he could get a book done on this subject, it would do that very thing. So we helped him through the hybrid ghostwriting process create this book, Renew and Sustain, which is branded as the same name as his business. We launched it, international bestseller, and then our media and PR team right here went to work. We got Mike booked on the #1 radio station in Washington, D.C. with over 2 million unique listeners. We got him booked on a 5-page spread in the Epic Times, which has 8 million unique visitors every month. Massive blog. We booked Mike on TV all over the country, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. We even booked Mike in the New York Times on a cool spread. Here's the thing, though. Mike's business started to explode, but he wanted speaking engagements. And he had reached out to the largest event in his space called the Green Festivals, but they had rejected him because they didn't feel like, with a little one-man consulting firm, that he was the kind of thought leader or expert that they needed, until all the things I shared with you. So we reached out again, and we actually booked Mike for the Washington, D.C. Green Festival, where he spoke in front of 20,000 people in his hometown where his business is. Now, albeit after we did the book, after it became a bestseller, after all the radio, after the TV, after everything we did, but it didn't end there. We booked him at the Los Angeles Green Festival, we booked him at the Portland, Oregon Green Festival, and we booked him at the San Francisco Green Festival, which was the biggest one, in front of over 30,000 people. Mike's business exploded because of all of these bookings. And just recently he sent me this Facebook post in our private group. He said, in May, I'm going to become a TED speaker. So it actually just happened a while back. He says, life goal accomplished, check. So literally from completely unknown, his best-selling book put him on the map through the hybrid ghostwriting process and exploded his business for him. That's Mike, right? One-man show to massive, massive growth. What could the right book do for you? Positioned the right way. What could it do? Take a moment. Type in the chat box. What do you want it to do for you? Do you want speaking engagements? Type that in there. Do you want media and PR? Do you want massive lead generation like I showed you that the Colemans did? Do you want to start a whole new business? Take a moment. Type in the chat box. What is it that you are looking for? when it comes to your own best-selling book and what it can do for you. So yeah, massive opportunity through speaking engagements. Love that. Another one, PR. You want to appear on TV. You want to get on Oprah. Fantastic. Now, Oprah doesn't have a show anymore, actually, but she does have a whole big channel. So certainly that is an opportunity. What else? What do you want? What do you want your book to do for you? Because it will take you to those places. Remember, your book, your best-selling book, is your gateway to your 7-figure and beyond business, to massive income and impact if you pull the trigger on it. So here's what to do. Nothing for sale. Only the opportunity to have a consultation with us. PublishMyBestseller.com/apply for a strategy call with one of my author development coaches. We will talk about your book. You have to fill out the form on this page. We'll talk about your book idea. We'll give you some advice, some direction. If we've helped somebody with something similar, we'll share the plan that we put them through. We will help you vet this idea to see whether or not it's going in the right direction. But this is the only way you're going to get it. PublishMyBestseller.com/apply. That's where you need to go right now. PublishMyBestseller.com/apply. Nothing to buy. It doesn't cost anything. Someone may say, well, Rob, it doesn't cost anything. Why doesn't it cost anything? It's simple. Because for some of you, you're going to get massive, massive help. And you're going to say, you know what, Rob, I don't want to do this on my own. I really want you to help me with it. I want this guaranteed. I want the results guaranteed. And then we'll talk about how we might be able to help you take steps forward in that. Others of you aren't going to want to do that, or you're going to want to try on your own, or it's not going to be a financial fit for you, and that's totally fine. We know that the ones that we help, we can help with guidance and direction. The ones that say, hey, I smell what you're cooking. I want to be a part of it. How can we work together? Then fantastic. Remember, we get 300 to 500 of these every single month, and we pick about 20 to 25 of those that are business owners, that are experts, but that aren't real influencers, don't have a massive authority, and they want to grow it and blow it up and expand it. So PublishMyBestseller.com/apply is where you need to go right now. When you go there, you'll fill out this application. In fact, I'll go ahead off this for just a moment. I'll show you what it looks like. You'll fill out the application. You'll answer 6 or 7 questions. After you submit it, it will then go to another page. On that page will be a free training for you that you can go through, as well as a number of other case studies that you can look at, plus testimonials and other things about BSP. And then we will review your application, and we will get in touch directly with you, okay? If it's a fit, then we'll let you know, hey, we feel like this is a fit. Here's what we can help you with. What do you need help with? And we'll talk about next steps moving forward. If it's not a fit and you say, well, I'm just not sure, or I'm not ready, or whatever, great, no problem. We've been doing this for 7 years. We've helped 500 plus authors and tens of thousands of others that I have taught. So we're happy to give advice and give direction and then move forward from there. So you're going to go to PublishMyBestseller.com. This is what it looks like. I'll just go off the page really quick and show you. You'll go to PublishMyBestseller.com/apply right there. I'm not going to hit balls right now. And there's a short video. This is me in my office. And then the application is right there. That's all there is to do on this page. You'll fill out the application. Have you already authored a book? Yes or no? If yes, you'll tell the title. You'll go to the next page. Give me a brief description of who you are and what you do. So give us a paragraph or 2 or a few sentences about who you are and what you do. You'll type that in there. You'll go to the next page, et cetera, until, 2 of 6 pages. You'll give us your information of how to get in contact with you, and that's it. Just that simple. We'll determine at that point, are we a fit to be working together or not? And if we are a fit, we'll make you an offer to be a fit. And if not, and you don't feel like we're a fit, then no problem whatsoever. We're here for you. We want to help. We want to serve. So I don't have anything else. I hope this was of value to you. I hope you saw all the opportunities that you potentially have with a best-selling book. I hope you learned from this. At this point, go to publishmybestseller.com, and I look forward to working with you and serving you. Thanks so much. You guys are great. We'll talk to you soon.